Mic check, mic check, mic check. Welcome back to another episode of the Justin Dunning Podcast. I'm riding solo dolo in the studio today, man. We're doing a Q&A. Very quick Q&A, man. It's not going to be very long. These are a combination of questions that were sent in to the podcast page, to my personal page also. Some football related, some just life related, man. I love the questions. Keep sending them in. Also, stop what you're doing right now. Please subscribe to our channel, whatever platform you're listening or watching this on. Like, subscribe, and comment. Whatever you want to, man. Just leave us something, man. It helps out a lot. All right. With that being said, let us jump right into the Q&A. All right, first question. Your favorite non-football sports moment, watched or been a part of? And I was actually just having a conversation about this the other day. So probably my favorite non-football moment had to be Kobe's final game whenever he scored 60. That was pretty amazing for me because I was a big Kobe fan growing up. I had the opportunity to watch him, get all his rings, and whenever he was extremely dominant for that period of time, well, not for a period of time, he was dominant for a long period, but I grew up watching Kobe, man. He was the all-star of my generation for the most part. I know everybody's talking about LeBron nowadays, but Kobe was that dude, and I think to see him go out the way that he went out was tremendous because a lot of people had stopped talking about him. You weren't hearing much about Kobe. And, he had the whole retirement tour, which was pretty cool. But, the 60 points he kind of finished with, I thought that was really, really big. Next question, did you ever consider TU as a school you might attend during your recruitment? Yes, I did. I did early on. Funny story about that. I was actually a Texas fan growing up. I actually really, really liked watching those guys whenever they were good. I actually had an opportunity to go there. Got a scholarship offer from them. I think they were my second scholarship offer. At Texas Tech first, and then Texas was next. But yeah, I went down there for what was it? It was a junior day. It was a sophomore day, actually, a sophomore day at University of Texas, or Texas University in Austin. We went down there. It was me, a couple of my friends from East Texas. I think Larry Pryor was there. Deontay Thompson, he's at Alabama now. We were friends. Chris Boyd, we were all out there. Dalen might have been there too. I don't remember Big Hamburger was there. But anyways, we were all out here in Austin. We went to this sophomore day, and they were handing out a couple offers to like their top priority sophomores. And I remember Larry was my boy. But I remember they gave Larry an offer before they gave me. Like they offered Larry that day. I went home thinking I was gonna get offered. Nobody ever hit me up. Nobody ever hit me up. I was like, okay. Larry started blowing up, getting other offers. I get my Texas Tech offer. Shout out to Coach Kingsbury. And then Texas comes around later, but it's like, no. They've offered like three. They offered Deontay Thompson that day. I remember that vividly. They offered Deontay Thompson that day. They offered Larry Pryor that day. And I'm sitting here like, oh, he offered two safeties before he offered me. That means you don't have any appreciation for my game. And so I was really frustrated about that. I went down to an A&M camp that summer. I think it was in June. Matter of fact, it was June 4th. I remember the specific day. That's crazy. June 4th. Went down to this A&M camp, participated in the camp, ran some 40s out there. Apparently they liked what they saw, and I became the first safety that A&M offered. And I always talk about, the whole fan base and coming down here and seeing the town and everything. That was a huge part in why I came here. But another thing was I was the first safety in the 2015 class that Texas A&M offered. That means they had some sort of respect for me, right? There was Larry Pryor in my class, and there was Deontay Thompson, who's about to get drafted in the first round now, and there was Deshaun Elliott and a bunch of other safeties. But I was the first safety in the country that they offered, and so that meant a lot to me because that meant I was prioritized. That meant that I was a guy they had a lot of respect for. But, yeah, I considered Texas, really after they offered the other guys before me, they kind of turned me off towards them. And then I remember when Charlie Strong got hired, he came to my school to visit, and he was trying to get me to come on an official visit. And I almost did, actually, even though I was committed to A&M, just because, not that I actually wanted to go there, but just to kind of experience the official visits and what they were all about, because it's like, you only get one chance to go through this. Take advantage of every opportunity you get. So ended up not going because I came to my A&M official visit the weekend before my Texas one was scheduled, because I actually scheduled it. And I enjoyed my time at A&M, canceled the other official, and that was it. All right, next question. What's your early prediction for our record this year? Yo, this is really early because the season in, 8 months? January. You asked me about the season in September. I'm just kidding. But early prediction, I say at least 9 games. At least 10 if I'm being extremely hopeful, but at least 9 games. I wouldn't be surprised to see a 10-win season next year, but it's going to be tough. You guys all seen the schedule. A&M has a really, really tough schedule next year. But I think they can pull out 10 wins. That'll be really exciting to see. Next question, what is your too early evaluation of the linebacker/DN spot for 2019? How good would the pass rush be? Okay, so let's see. I'll start with linebacker first off. Linebacker, A&M took a huge loss at linebacker, obviously, with Tyrell leaving early. It was expected for Otaro to leave, but a lot of people expected Tyrell to come back, but he decided to leave early. Kudos to him going off to the NFL and making his dream come true. But if we're evaluating the position, I had Anthony Hines on the podcast the other day. We talked a little bit. And I told you guys he was a guy that I'm really, really high on. And I wasn't just saying that because he was on here, man. But Anthony Hines is going to be a hell of a player for this football team. From what I've seen from him in practice and the way that he comes to work every day, he's going to be tremendous, man. The athleticism isn't short of any at all. And just watching him work and his ability to pick up offenses and break things down, he's going to be tremendous. And then Buddy Johnson, I think Buddy Johnson was a guy that I saw. Buddy Johnson was a guy we saw improve over the course of the year drastically. And then he had the start in the bowl game because Otaro was sitting out. He had to start in the bowl game. And I thought he did phenomenal. I had a chance to go back and watch some of the film, and I thought he did phenomenal. I thought he did a really good job. The pass rush, I think the pass rush will be improved, and the reason I say this because we obviously had Landis this year. We had Landis, who was the co-sack leader in the SEC in 2017. Didn't produce as much this year, but he was still a good pass rusher. And then opposite of him, we had Kingsley Keke. So I think one thing that people tend to forget is that Kingsley Keke was not supposed to play defensive end this year until Michael Clemens got injured, meaning that Michael Clemens was going to be the defensive end. And so Kingsley Keke had to move outside. He had to. That was a necessity for the team to survive. And so if you're asking me who I would choose to be a better pass rusher out of Kingsley Keke and Michael Clemens, I'm going Michael Clemens all the way. He's a long, strong body build. Like, you got to see this dude. This dude is built like freaking Caesar from Planet of the Apes, man. But yeah, he's a good pass rusher, and I think we're gonna see that next year. He's a guy I've been talking about a lot. I've been giving him a lot of praise. He's gonna be extremely successful next year. And then the situation who I expect to take over for Landis Durham, I expect Tyree Johnson. I think Tyree had the role this year of a pass rush specialist. And so he came in on third downs, and when they went to a smaller package, to a speed package, they put him in on third downs and allowed him to pass rush. And so I think Tyree, if he was a guy that Coach Price had such faith in to put out there on third down, he has to be a good pass rusher. I saw him at practice. He obviously improved a lot more since his freshman year whenever I saw him. But I think he'll do a fantastic job there next year. All right, if you were a football coach, what types of offensive and defensive philosophies would you have on offense and defensive line? Ooh, that is – let me come back to that question. The Great Beard of – this dude's name is the Great Beard of Zeus. That's awesome. I love that. All right, also, of the coaches that you know pretty well and still have from whenever you played, what are the personalities towards each of the players? Oh, is so-and-so a hard-ass, funny guy, personable, all business? I like that question. I played, I think the only coach I played for that is still here is Terry Price. Terry Price is a dude I was really, really high on, man. I told a story about really disliking him whenever I first got to A&M, kind of because of so if you met Terry Price before, if you've seen him on the football field or you've seen him in action, he's an incensed dude. He's yelling, he's all over the place, spit flying out of his mouth. I'm telling you, it's everywhere. It's like he's like projecting spit all over the place. And he's just yelling all at you, man. It's a lot. And so, I kind of describe him as the prototypical what you're going to get in college. And so what I mean by that is whenever you go off to college, people always tell you, look, your coaches, they're going to be all in your ass. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. It's going to be really, really tough. They're going to be yelling at you all the time for no reason. And you always think it's just, that's just talk. It's whatever. That's just talk. When I got here, I'm telling you, he was that exact dude that I imagined in my mind. I couldn't imagine it any better than Terry Price. And so I really, really disliked him whenever I first got here. But I had the opportunity whenever I moved to defensive end, because I thought that was really, really I didn't think that was a possibility for myself. But whenever I actually moved to defensive end, I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with him. I got to see how much of a personable guy he was and how much he actually cared about his players. And so, yeah, he was a tremendous dude to be around. I thought that he, more so than any other coaches, he brought a great sense of humor to the table. He had the same intensity with everybody on the field. And that's something that that lacks sometimes, because I think if you look at a lot of the coaches around college football, I've only played for a mixture of two staffs, kind of. So I've had guys come in and out, obviously, but you'll see some coaches play favorites. You'll see, the guys who are stars at the position, they'll get special treatment. That's how a lot of things are in life as well. But you don't want to see that if you're a player who's not one of the favorites, right? If you are one of the favorites, you're like, oh, I love it. This is fantastic. But if you're not, it's unfair. And so Terry Price was one of those guys who kept it real with every single person in his room. Kept it real with everybody in there, man. And that's something you had to appreciate. All right, next question. Finally, a non-football question. Is there anything that you've been through that you can look back and laugh about? This is also crazy because I was having this conversation with my girlfriend the other day. So, I had a situation my freshman year. Really, really dumb mistake I made. It was really stupid, and now that I look back at it, but it's funny. You can sit back and laugh at it, and I tell the story all the time. So, I have an older sister, a beautiful older sister. She's 9 years older than me, maybe 10. 9 years older than me. I got an older brother who I looked up to a lot when I was younger. He is a year and a half older than me. Two beautiful twin sisters who are a year younger than me, and then I have a younger brother. So I'm kind of like the upper middle child. I'm kind of like right there in the middle, but the upper half of the middle, because there's 6 of us. So whenever my sister was growing up, I watched her go through the whole process of getting a car. After that, I watched my mom help my brother get a car. This was the year before me. And so because of how their situations played out, I knew that whenever my time finally came, I was up next. That was it. And so I remember looking around for a car. My mom finally found a car dealership. We drove out to Mineola, looked at all these different cars out there. I finally found the one I wanted. Wasn't the newest thing on the lot. Wasn't the prettiest thing, but it got you from point A to point B. It was a 2006 Chevy Cobalt. Plus it had a black racing stripe down the side. I felt like I was in a Camaro driving this thing down the road. And so I got this car, and I brought it down to college. And so this was my first car. Didn't really know how to take care of cars. And my mom would always call me to check up on me. You know how moms are. She would call me and she'd be like, hey, Justin, everything good with you? You eating? You putting gas in the car? Getting oil change? I'm like, yes, Mom, I got it. Yes. I'm grown now. I'm 18. I moved out the house. So it's like, yeah, I got it, Mom. And so she called me back again a couple of days later. Everything good with you, Justin? You paying your rent? You paying your bills? Putting gas in the car? Getting oil change? I'm like, Mama, yes. I got this. I'm grown. I got this. Trust me. A couple days later, call back again. Justin, everything good? You got gas in the car, oil change, taking care of the car? I'm like, Mama, come on. Stop asking me. I'm grown. I got this, right? So I think I know it all. I'm 18. I'm a grown man now, supposedly. I move out the house. Everything good, everything gravy. And so a couple weeks pass by. I'm just driving the car around, taking it from point A to point B. It's getting me everywhere I need to go. It's getting the job done. And so my brother comes down from Waco. My brother, he was living in Waco with his girlfriend. They had a whole situation. They fell out. He asked me to move in with me in College Station for a little bit. And so he came down to my apartment. And so he stayed with me for a little bit. And after a couple of days, he asked, can he go back to Waco to visit his baby? And so he borrows my car. No big deal. Borrows my car, goes to Waco, visits the baby mama, visits the baby. Everything's gravy. On the way back, I get a phone call. And he says my car is stuck on the side of the road. It's broke down. I almost had a panic attack. I'm like, whoa, I let you borrow my car. I've had no problems with this car whatsoever. I let you borrow my car to go to Waco to visit your girl, and on the way back, it just breaks down. Are you serious? So I'm really frustrated. I get a tow truck out there. I'm talking like this car is out on like Highway 6 on the way to Waco. I'm talking about like 30 minutes out from where I am. So I had to pay like $150 for a tow truck. Drives us all the way out there, tows the car. I get it towed to a shop that's in College Station. So we go to the shop in College Station. And I'm really, really mad at my brother for messing up my car. It's like, I trusted you to let you borrow this car, and you gonna just mess. How do you mess it up like that? You know, you drive from Waco to College Station. It's not that far. Just go and come straight back. Don't do anything. Don't be doing the extra stuff. Don't mess it up. And so I'm really mad the whole time. I'm not talking to him like, bro, you know, that's some immature stuff. You messed up my car. That's whatever, bro. I trusted you with it, you know. And so we get to this car shop, and the dude's looking at the car. He's examining it. He was like, well, I mean, we can't really tell you what's going on with it right now unless we hook it up to the machine and break it down and, you know, all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, all right, bro, hook it up to the machine, you know, whatever. He's like, well, that's not free. You do know it costs a. I'm like, yeah, man, just charge it, whatever, and hook it up and do whatever. So we sit there for a little bit, and he comes back. He said, well, I got some bad news for you, bud. And look over at my brother, and I'm like, oh, isn't that great? He has some bad news for me, huh? And then he continues. He's like, yep, your car is done. Your engine's basically, engine shut down, man. You're basically done. And I'm like, oh, isn't that great? The engine shut down, he said. He said, yeah, actually it's the transmission. The transmission on there seems to be messed up on the car, on the vehicle. And I look over at my brother, and I'm like, oh, the transmission. Did you know that? Good job at the transmission. And so the dude's like, I'm like, okay, how much is this going to cost to get the transmission fixed? Like, well, you're looking at around probably about $2,000, but we can't fix it here, so you got to get it towed somewhere. I'm like, oh, so you're telling me how to get it towed somewhere, and I also got to pay $2,000? Hey, bro, you got $2,000 on you? You don't? Oh, that's funny. And so I'm sitting here pissed off at my brother. I'm being sarcastic and whatnot. I'm like, bro, are you, like, you really did this to my car? Like, I'm getting so mad. And so then I asked the dude a final question, because I'm about to just walk out and leave. I'm like, sir, he doesn't know what happened. My brother does not know what happened. Can you please tell me, how does this happen to a vehicle? You know, what happened? How did this happen? And so my brother, and so then the dude looks at me and he says, yep, well, we don't know exactly what it is, but one thing that it could be is your oil. He said, it seems to be like your oil tank is completely empty, completely dry as a bone. It seems as if someone has never got an oil change. And then I look over at my brother. I'm like, oh, okay. I said, thank you very much, sir. And I went about my business. So long story short, it wasn't my brother's fault. It was my fault. And I thought it was his fault because he took the car to Waco, came back, and it was messed up. But it was actually months of neglect. And so I had this car for about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years. Not once did I change the oil on it. Even after my mom constantly reminded me, she said, get the oil changed, get the oil changed, get the oil changed. And not once did I change the oil on this vehicle because I didn't even know, like, I'm not sure why, but I just thought, I don't know what I thought, to be honest. I was just neglecting this car. I did not once change the oil on it. I did not change the oil once on the vehicle for whatever reason, me just being stupid. But yeah, I learned how to do oil changes since then. So I guess I learned my lesson, but that is a really stupid story that I look back and I laugh on now. Next question on here. Oh my God, my girlfriend FaceTime me. I'm recording the podcast. How you doing?
Oh, my bad. Bye.
No, you're good. Listen. Say hello. Yo, she's shy. She don't want to be on here. Where was I? Next question. Can you talk more about the process that Jimbo has the team on versus the process under Coach Sumlin? The process that Jimbo has the team on versus the process that Coach Sumlin had the team on. It's really tough to explain because whenever you're talking about college football, there aren't many big things that you can change and tweak about a program to just make it drastically different. Now, there are small things that you can change to have a big payoff in the long run, but it's not like you just come in and, you know, instead of practicing 4 times a day, you're practicing 1 time a day. Or it's not like, you know, there's not many huge differences you can make. There are some small things. And so from what I've heard about Jimbo and his staff is that they pay more attention to the detail. And, you know, you hear coaches harp on that all the time. That's what they want to do because coaches know that small things pay off big for you in the long run. And so they try to pay attention to these small things and get them fixed and put a lot of attentiveness to the details. But from what I've heard is Jimbo Fisher and company that do a fantastic job of paying attention and making and prioritizing the small things because they pay off really, really big for the team. All right. When Coach Sumlin left, did he talk with the team? Has he had any contact with the team since he left? No soup for you. You asked a bunch of good questions here. You're my guy. No. Coach Sumlin did not talk to the team whenever he left. If I remember correctly, right after the LSU game, we took separate planes. If I'm not mistaken. I don't think he was even on the plane with us because our plane seats. This is funny too. So I used to have to sit in the exit aisle because of how tall I am. They used to try to put me in the very back of the plane or like in the middle of the plane or wherever it was. They just put me in these really small seats, and I'm sitting here having to sit up straight, and my knees are poking into the back of this thing, and I'm sitting up as straight as I can. My knees are in the back of this airplane seat. I literally have no room, so I used to sit on the exit row so I could have a little bit of room. And Coach Sumlin used to actually sit directly, or not directly across from me, but across and one seat up. So we were right there next to each other on the plane. Yeah, I don't even think he rode back with us on the plane. Maybe it was like a done deal before the game. He was going to get fired if we lost, but it was a really sad situation to see him go. But he did not speak with the team. And has he had any contact with the team since he left? I actually had the opportunity to talk to Coach Sumlin a couple months back. Whenever I announced my whole retirement process, he actually called me. He actually hit me up. And we had a good conversation, man. He told me that he really appreciated me for everything that I brought to the program and everything I did for the program. And, my message was pretty much echoed back to him because it was him that gave me the opportunity, and our relationship was probably a lot better than some of the other players on the team. Not saying he had bad relationships, it's just we were actually pretty close. But, we had that conversation, and, I thought it said a lot about the kind of person that Kevin Sumlin was. And so for him to reach out to me following that, I thought that it meant a lot to me. It really did. And then I had another conversation with him a couple months after that. I was participating in an entrepreneurship group on campus, and we had to reach out to all these different people to ask them about business models. And the business I was doing was kind of like a mentorship network for student athletes, and I basically had to find out the problems in connecting the student athletes to a life after sports, and the coaching staff, what's their problem, what's the student athlete's problem, what's the academic staff problem, whose job it is. And I interviewed all these different people, and Coach Sumlin was one of the people that actually called. And so, yeah, I thought he might change his phone number or something because, he probably received a lot of hateful phone calls after he got fired. But no, he had the same number. I called him up, like, yo, Sumlin. He answered the phone, happy to. Yo, what's up, JD? I was like, okay, what's up, Sum Dog? You good, baby? How you living, man? So I had the conversation with him. I don't know if the team has directly, but yeah. All right, next question. Also, no soup for you. Oh, man, he gave me a little shout out. I love your podcast. Great conversations with the players that give real insight into the team. Will you be doing this for the entire spring? Yes, I will be doing this for the entire spring. Fall also, I'm not sure yet. I'm going to see where. Well, I plan on continuing the podcast regardless of wherever I move to. But if I'm still in College Station, I'm going to continue doing it with guys on the football or guys on the teams and also guys around the university. But if I'm not in College Station, it's going to kind of differ a little bit. But my podcast will be continued, hopefully for many, many years. And this is just the beginning of what I'm trying to build for the podcast. Also, can you share a recruiting story or two? One story where you hosted or you were a recruit that you thought the recruit would join us or did, and one story where it gave signals that he would join the good guys but chose elsewhere. Yeah, perfect. So I had a recruit. I'm not gonna say his name, but he was a wide receiver. I'll just say that. This dude was committed to us for a while, actually, and this dude came in talking. I'm talking our heads off. Like, imagine Leon O'Neal times 47. You know what I'm saying? This dude was talking our heads off, and he came in just talking about everything he's gonna do, and I'm gonna be All-American freshman year, and I'm gonna be this and that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I remember just sitting down having a real conversation with him, yeah, bro, we want you to come here. We want you to be a part of this family. But when I was a recruiter, I would always try to keep it extremely real with the recruits, and I would never down talk the program at all because I was really high on this whole university and the city and everything. And so I'd always tell him, I told this dude, I was like, yo, slow your roll a little bit. You got to work for everything when you come in here. You have to work for it. It's gonna be a grind. And if you push through it, you're going to have that spot. You're going to do everything that you said you're going to do. And so, yeah, I remember him just talking to the entire official visit, and I had to host him for 2 nights. And the thing was, the dude was doing all this talking about coming here. He was one of those social media dudes. Yo, get my followers up. Yo, who can get my followers up? Which fan base got the most followers for me? All this and that. And yeah, he ended up decommitting and going to a different school anyway. So kind of took 2 nights of my life, man, that I'm not going to get back. But yeah, it was pretty fun hosting that dude. Not really, actually. It wasn't fun hosting him at all. I'm not going to lie to you. He was one of those guys that just know that this dude talked a lot about what he was going to do. And I tried to keep it real with him. Like, look, bro, slow your roll. Be patient. It's going to take time. You know, if you put some time into it and you work for it, it's going to work out for you. But, you know, be patient. All right, next question. Is Santino Marks really that big of a ass? Is it ass nozzle? I don't know what this is. Yo, crazy thing about Tino, I was talking to one of my homeboys about this the other day. Santino he came off as a good guy, as a really good guy. We spent some time together, not a lot of time, but I would like to say that we were friends. You know, he was one of those guys who was friends with almost everybody on the team. He was one of those guys that people did not tend to dislike or did not seem to dislike. And so, yeah, it was kind of surprising for me, and I think everybody on the team, whenever that whole situation came out about him, and to, you know, kind of hear what he was saying. I actually want to bring him on the podcast to ask him what the hell was going through your mind? Like, what were you? And then what causes somebody to use that kind of language about a friend? You know, it was a weird situation, but I was really, really shocked and surprised by it to come out about him. And for those of you who don't know, who are listening to this right now, Santino Marks was a former linebacker for A&M, and he transferred to Arizona, left after Coach Sumlin left. I think he left in the spring. He transferred over there, spring of 2018. He transferred over there, and a clip was uploaded about him watching film on some of his spring highlights during spring ball. And he said he was calling players monkeys and all kind of racist BS, man. It was crazy, though. Yeah, really, really surprising to hear that come from him. Next question. John Chavis seemed like the great hire for us, but it never worked out with him. So why wasn't he as effective? Why wasn't he as effective here as we expected him to be? Elko has proven that talent was there. Man, it's a tough situation to speak about with Coach Chavis, because there wasn't really just one factor to point to as to why he did not achieve success or why we did not achieve success as a unit while he was here. Like you said, we had a lot of talent. There was a lot of talent on that football team whenever he was here. On that defense, particularly, I think 2016 it was, we had a really, really talented defense that year. And yes, I guess I don't know. I can't really point to just one factor as to why it didn't work out, but I can speak on what Coach Elko has done since he's been here, because I've been one to observe his craft. And I talk about it all the time. I talk about the game of football being a game of chess all the time. It's a game of adjustments. It's a game of mental fortitude, even at the coaching level. And so I think Coach Elko has done a great job of proving that he is steps ahead of the offense at periods of time, you know, in situations. He does a great job preparing his players. I think we look a lot more prepared. I think whenever I was playing personally, there was a lot of time we would run into things that we weren't necessarily prepared for. So I don't know if that speaks to, you know, his coaching preparation or, you know, how well other people on the staff scouted teams. Or I don't want to speak down specifically on him, but just know that the guys look much more prepared with Coach Elko than they were beforehand. So who are your top candidates, or who would you guess is in line to be the next 12th man? I will put my bottom dollar on this, that the next 12th man is going to be Braden White. I promise you. See, I don't know for sure. I don't know anything, but I will put my bottom dollar on it that he will be. And the reason I say that is because I've seen this dude work. Like, this is one of the hardest workers I've been around, and I promise you, I do not say that lightly. I'll get on here and I'll boost the guy up sometimes, and I'll say, you know, this guy's this, he's that. But I try to keep it nice and honest as possible about these people. I kid you not, this dude is one of the hardest workers I've been around. Ask anybody who's played with him, and they'll say the exact same thing. The dude is, I don't know, it's 5'10", maybe. 220. Yo, this, I promise you, I've seen this dude. You'll walk into the training room. Yeah, he's one of those dudes. He's strong built, got one of those big old necks like a bull. Like they got that Keith Ford neck. I remember walking into the training room, seeing this dude hooking his head up in one of those machines, one of those gadgets. You put it around your head, and you doing the neck muscle exercises. You walk in there, this dude's hitting 50 of these a day, all angles, getting all the different angles on his neck, getting his neck strong. But he'll throw that neck at you too. That boy Brandon will knock you out. Not scared to hit anybody, man. He's never afraid to work. That's something I really appreciate about him. All right, next question. Do you have any knowledge or can you provide any clarity on the transfer rules for SEC versus other conferences? There seems to be cases each year in which certain core classes won't transfer for SEC qualification if they were taken online. So some transfer or JUCO football players can transfer to Pac or Big 12, but not SEC. Does that need to change? Okay, yeah, so I saw this question last night, and I actually went to talk to my advisor about it because I don't think that is actual situation. Not saying that you don't know what you're talking about, but I think that your information might be a bit misconstrued. So I think the situation, this is how it works out. It doesn't vary conference to conference, okay? It varies university to university. And so basically how the situation works out, if you go to JUCO and you take certain classes at JUCO, those credits don't always equate to credits on a degree plan at Texas A&M. They might equate at a different university, but they don't always transfer directly over to Texas A&M. And it doesn't vary just conference to conference. It's not like, there's a universal rule, for the SEC versus the Pac-12 or Big 12. It's simply university to university. So what class, like Alabama might accept a class that we don't accept, or we might accept one that Tennessee doesn't accept. So it's not just the conferences versus different conferences. So I guess you might have seen different situations where a player couldn't transfer to A&M, and so they had to go to a different school, like USC or something like that, who might accept that class. But it's not the conferences. It's just university to university. Let's see. Which Toy Story movie is the best? Number 3. Come on, baby. Also, let me give a shout out to Pixar. Pixar played a huge part in my childhood, man. Shout out to Pixar. Number 3 was the best though, but I love the Toy Story series. It's awesome. When we beat the hell out of Ellis Boo-Hoo. What's that? Ellis Boo-Boo? Ellis Boo-Boo next season. What alcohol will you celebrate with? You gotta drink some bourbon, man. Come on now. Big bourbon, baby. You know that. Or maybe I'll pull up a glass of Henny, like my man Shannon Sharp. What was your experience with? What was your best away game stadium atmosphere you've experienced? I was blown away when I went to the Swamp 2017. That was cool. I think the Swamp was really cool. I wanted to say LSU my final year, even though we lost. We got dominated, but yeah, when they played that song, Nick, I got so hyped. I'm not gonna lie to you. We were losing too. We were getting smacked. I got hyped. I was on the sideline like, yo, okay. I wasn't playing personally in that game, so I mean, maybe I was just a little bit more disconnected than everybody else, but I was hyped though. Odell was there and everything. He was hyping up the band. I was like, bro, get this dude out of here. Let's see. Dalen Mack, not looking for what's on his dinner menu or any comments on his attire. Would just like to hear more about Dalen as a person, friend, and Aggie. Interested in your take on his last season in Aggieland and projected future in the NFL. Dalen. Yo, we make a lot of jokes about Dalen. Only because he's built like a... Never mind. Okay, yeah, we make a lot of jokes about Dalen Mack because he's such a likable guy. He's a friend of almost everybody on the team. I don't know anybody who does not like Dalen Mack. And I probably know him a little better than a lot of guys on the team just because we've been friends since sophomore year of high school. Grew up in the same area. We hung out some in high school, had the opportunity to make trips to different universities and visit, talked a bunch in high school, was a part of the same recruiting group in the same class also. And so, I probably know him a lot better than some other guys. I'll be the first to say that it was extremely cool to see Dalen Mack have this run of excellence this year, this final year, because coming into the year, and I talk about this all the time, coming into the year, it's probable that he's not even going to be a starter. You know, you got Michael Clemens at defensive end, Kingsley Kiki's on the outside. Justin Matabike had a hell of a spring. Daylon Mack trying to make his way into some playing time. He's trying to find a way to get onto the football field. The cards played out in his favor. You know, you never wish injury on somebody, but Michael Clemens got hurt, which was bad for the team, but good for Daylon Mack, because now you get to see the emergence of Daylon Mack. Before that, people are saying, oh, this guy can't play more than 2 snaps. He can't do this. He can't do that. Daylon Mack said, that's BS. He said, I've been working. I've been grinding for this, and I'm about to go out there and show all of you all what I can do. Came out this year, had a hell of a year, man. I was so happy to see Daylon Mack have the success this year that he had. And then even this last couple of weeks with the whole Shrine game and the Reese's Senior Bowl, he's been showing guys what he's capable of. And some people are saying he might be the first Aggie taken, which is crazy. Crazy. I remember working out with this dude, and he could, I mean, sometimes the dude could barely finish a workout. I remember coming back, he was like 350 one time, you know, eating ribs and stuff back in East Texas. Like, it's been crazy to see his progress, see his story, because a lot of people think it's smooth sailing. And, you know, I know he's dealt with a lot of criticism, and that's my guy. He's dealt with a lot of criticism for being a 5-star. People love to talk. The 5-stars get a lot of crap, man. I was not a 5-star, but they get a lot of crap, and I've witnessed it. They love to say that the 5-stars are a failure, and they love to say that they are underachievers and they're a flop, you know, a bust. And that's what they try to categorize Daylon Mack as. And, you know, he came out and showed guys that he's not. And I think he's just created a future for himself in the NFL. All right, last question. Friend of mine sent this in. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be besides your knees? My man El Sueño. Yo, so this is crazy, and it might be crazy for some of y'all to hear this, but I don't like my voice. I don't like it at all. When I was younger, they used to make fun of my voice and say I sounded like a girl. Because I did before I hit puberty. It was like, really, really high-pitched. That's how I sounded. But I don't like my voice in public, because whenever I'm like in a meeting or something like that, if I'm meeting somebody like a lunch meeting or I'm out in public around a lot of people, I can't hear a word that I'm saying. My voice blends into like the natural tone of everybody's voice. Like, you throw everybody's voice in like a melting pot, put my voice next to it, it's like camouflage. I kid you not. Go to lunch with me or something. You know, I'm trying to talk to you in public. You cannot hear anything I'm saying, bro. And so I kind of wish sometimes, like, some people have that voice that just slices through everything, and like, you could be around 1,000 people and they're talking to you right in front of you. You can hear every word they're saying. That is not mine. You can't hear anything I'm saying, man. But that's one thing that I don't know if I would change it about myself, but that's one thing I don't really like, is that voice. All right, that is the final question I have. That is it. Shout out to all my boys who are going through the whole draft process right now. Otaro, Nate, Kiki, T. Will, all y'all boys, love y'all, man. Keep grinding. And for all of you guys who are listening to this right now, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, whatever it is on, subscribe, like, rate, review. We're trying to build this podcast, man. We're trying to grow. You're helping us out a lot by subscribing. You're helping us out by sharing. Everything you guys do, any comment or feedback that you leave is helping us a lot. And so we're trying to grow. Help me out. Help the podcast out. All right, guys, that is all I have for you guys today. Be sure to tune in next week. We're dropping 2 episodes again. We're trying to get back on schedule to where we can drop Tuesday, Thursday, but it may have to be Wednesday, Friday like it is this week. But whatever you're doing, I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. It is Friday whenever you're listening to this right now. Hope you guys have a beautiful Black History Month. Tomorrow is the first day of Black History Month as well. Hope you guys enjoy that. All right, guys, peace.